Hello, everybody, and welcome to Honey Badger Radio. My name is Brian. I'm here with Allison, and this is our fundraising stream. We would normally be doing Beat Saber, but there are some, you guessed it, technical issues, and we're hoping to get that settled right away. But in the meantime, I do have an article that I wanted to share from Mel Magazine. So I thought we could maybe do that while we're waiting for Jonathan to get everything together.
They're always good for a laugh, Mel.
Yeah.
And a face
Oh,
bomb.
also, I don't know if you know, but today is National Barcode Day. Yes. So, and
Is there a Google Doodle for National Barcode
no,
Day?
there isn't, but there probably will be because it's, I don't know, not Father's Day. There's also National Chocolate Pudding Day and Forgiveness Day. So forgive someone for not acknowledging the barcode on their chocolate pudding package. And then you'll make it all happen at once. So
Oh
I mean,
my
if
god.
if you can,
And
I
then,
don't know.
and then, and then if you have a technical difficulty trying to scan that barcode, you'll have included us in your massive clot
Mm-hmm.
of references, tangle of references, spaghetti pile of references.
That's right. That's right. Egg
That's
noodle twist. Okay.
references.
So
Yeah,
go
just
ahead
to
and do the
explain.
spiels or whatever.
Yeah, I'll do the spiels on. So Oculus decided to break everything and update everything, apparently, and they've also gotten rid of the home. So we've lost all of our collectibles,
Hmm.
which I think were things that we got for completing stuff. I don't know. I wasn't really too worried about the collectibles, but apparently there are a lot of people that are upset. So it's not just us. We're all being hit by Meta.
Oh, well.
Yeah, it's Meta.
Mm-hmm.
And also, if you have been having issues with PayPal on Feed the Badger lately, it's not our site. I actually looked through all of the plugins to see if I had anything I needed to update. Not that I really understand all that, but it. And then I did a search. Apparently, this is PayPal wide. The complete purchase button for PayPal simply doesn't work. Um, and they're trying to fix it. I've heard from one supporter that apparently they will redirect you to an organization that supports the the letter people. Um, but yeah, that might not be of much assistance to you in attempting to support us. However, we do also go through another payment processor, and you can use that instead. I think it's a little bit more awkward because you have to put your credit card information in. Regardless, we are doing our fundraiser today. And if you would like to help us out, you can simply go to feedthebadger.com/support and put whatever you want in to make sure that we can continue to get these shows on the air. I think at this point we are the longest running podcast
That
devoted to men's issues.
would be nice. Yeah, I think so. I mean, we've been very
Yeah,
consistent.
we've been very
Yeah.
consistent, almost 10 years now. And pretty much
That's
weekly, at
that,
least weekly through 10 years, unless we take a break in order to do like something like a convention or a tour. So yeah, that's a long time, and don't plan to stop because men's issues, they just keep coming and they don't stop coming, and then
they don't stop coming and they don't stop coming.
and
Um,
they are running. So
just wanted to point out another interesting piece of trivia. It took Peter Jackson's team 10 years to make the Lord of the Rings trilogy. So we are on par with how long it takes to make Lord of the Rings. The whole trilogy, he did them all at the same time, and it took 10 years. So, like, all the actors, they aged 10 years throughout the filming of
wow,
those movies. Yeah.
yeah, that did take a long time.
Yep.
That in today's years, that's enough time that you write a script, and in 10 years, it's completely and utterly transphobic, cissexual, hetero.
Yeah. It can take you 10 years to find all of the ways that it offends.
Or for this culture to have shifted so far out from under you that you are now a bigot. Well, I mean, all of us are bigots, right?
For having any standards, yes.
Yeah,
we're all
just for
what?
Yeah. We're bigots.
Yeah,
just you and me, Brian. I mean, that's obvious. We're the most tremendous bigots in all existence. But I mean, just everyone. Everyone is a bigot. Everyone.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know what? That's okay. That's okay. I'm a work in progress.
Everyone's a work in progress.
Yeah.
Sort of the big about sin in Christian theology.
That's right.
In a lot of ways, it just knocked off that head of egotism. Nope, we're all just fucked. Might as well love each other. Anyway,
true that.
So
okay.
Again, if you would like to support the show, feedthebadger.com/support. If you would like to, just a second. I gotta see if Jonathan thinks that this is even possible.
Okay, that's fine.
Oh wait, he says he doesn't know yet, so I won't announce the monetize or the.
We won't start with the Beat Saber part of this just yet. Maybe we'll do this other thing if he doesn't get it fixed, and then do a Beat Saber thing on Wednesday.
Yeah, if we have to, like, we can make this up. At some point. Yeah, so for now we'll just hold off on taking song requests until we know for sure that we can defeat the final boss at Oculus and actually get this started.
Yeah.
But until then, we'll talk about what is it? What is this new thing that Mel is telling us?
Yeah. So before we do though, I do want to let you guys know that ICMI 2023 has been announced. I got an email and I got a call from Anil Kumar. He is from India, and in India, if you guys don't know, men's rights activism is huge there, and it actually is making some gains, a lot of gains in like the sort of the PSA stuff and so on. So they want to host the ICMI in India. It's going to be at the end of September for 4 days. I don't have the exact dates, but I just wanted to mention it. Anil called me and he asked if we would be able to go, and I was like, I don't know, India? I don't know, but because it's, the tickets are probably really expensive, like to fly out there and stuff. But if anyone is wondering or they're interested, I know that a lot of people are going to be there, and there will be interviews and stuff like that. So just putting it out there, if you're interested. We're still doing ICMIs. I think the last couple of them have been online because of, the shmemic. But this year there'll be an IRL one in it's near Mumbai. It's not in Mumbai, but it's like an hour away from Mumbai. So look into it. That's it. Just let you know. So now we're gonna get into the article. I do have a super chat, but I'm not gonna read it because it is a song request. So we'll have to wait and see if we can do any of those. But thank you, Great Endoris, for the super chat. I do see it. All right. So this is from Mel Magazine, written by C. Brian Smith, and it is entitled "The Horticulturalist Whose Life's Work is to End Botanical Sexism." Botanical sexism. Can you imagine? Can you guess what this is going to be about? What it's going to say? Well, Alison, you're muted. I don't know if you're trying to talk, but.
Oh, am I muted?
Well, and you know what? I can hear you now, but for some reason, the mute icon is on, even though I can hear you.
Oh, just give me a second.
I mean, I can hear you anyway, so I guess it doesn't matter, but.
Oh, yeah. Oh, jeez. Great for inducing paranoia, though.
Well, I'm just saying, it looked like you were muted because I see the little mute, like, know. Yeah, I see the mute sign, but I don't know why. All right.
Let's roll with it. I'm pretty sure I could guess, but
I haven't read this. Yeah, I haven't read this article about it. I read a New York Post article about it a little bit. I did the actual website that was sort of like brought this up We did that as a patron show, but this Mel magazine take, I haven't read it, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be like white hot. It's going to be a plasma hot magma take. It's going to be like the surface of Mercury. It's going to be, because Mel magazine's so good for that. Okay.
Well, how was the other take?
Well, I don't want to give it away. I'm just saying, like, what do they mean by botanical sexism? We're going to get to this, okay? So,
this is the curiosity loop, That's what they're trying to... Everybody's... what could possibly be sexist about botanicalism?
Botanical sexism. Okay, I'd say you're the first reporter who's ever been offered a ride in my truck, says Tom Ogren, a 72... What?
Starting with the novel crap.
Yeah, I know. It's like... He stood by the truck. His...
All right. Like that Family Guy skit with the guy who's playing the piano and narrating everything?
Yeah, oh right. You mean the guy from Toy Story? Isn't that the guy who's playing the piano? I forget his name, but I know who you're talking about. You got a friend in me. Yeah, that's the guy.
And he just follows.
You're riding in my truck. All right, says Tom Ogren, a 72-year-old dude-like horticulturist driving a 1999 charcoal gray Mazda B2500 pickup whose odometer tops 270,000 miles, within minutes of our journey through San Luis Obispo, California. My feet awkwardly rest on a pile of nomadic necessities scattered on the passenger side floor. Duct tape, a jug of water, a 15-pound dumbbell, a small plant clipper, a smattering of different size screwdrivers, pliers, and channel locks. Instant tire inflator, a knife sharpener, bungee cords, etc. A lot of stuff that's totally useful. What's that rule of like writing where it's like you don't if you describe something in a room you have to use it?
Yeah,
like it has to.
The Chekhov's.
Yeah, Chekhov's gun, right? So,
got the Chekhov's duct tape and tire inflator.
Chekhov's bungee cords.
I think what they're trying to do is they're trying to lay they're trying to paint a picture that
they're setting the scene.
It's really he's just salt of the earth.
Hence dude-like. I don't know what that means, but you mean like he's male? So, and he drives a truck. But what's funny is this guy is kind of like, well, anyway, we'll keep going. A quick glance at the cargo.
Don't tell us.
Yeah, I'm not.
Sparkly vampire.
A quick glance at the cargo bed reveals more of the same. Adjustable straps for a kayak, solar lanterns, sleeping pads, camp chairs.
Lord Mel, shut up.
Rock hammers, sledges, chisels, fishing tackle, canned food, and a bottle of brown booze. I'm often in places where there's no one else around, and I need to be able to adapt and improvise as I go along, Ogren explains, figuring he slept in the truck more than 1,000 nights, many of which occurred during a coast-to-coast allergy audit of the 11 largest cities in Canada, sponsored by Johnson & Johnson. Brought to you by Johnson & Johnson. In each...
All right.
Okay, go ahead.
Right. Tell me that you are a failed novelist without telling me.
Yeah, I know, right?
Okay.
In each, he studied the urban landscapes and visited local nurseries to see exactly which plants were being sold and how allergy-friendly they were and weren't. Ogren is an allergy expert and patriarch of the allergy-free gardening movement. It's funny they call him a patriarch, but we'll come back to that. His first book...
I wonder if that's foreshadowing or something.
A little bit, but it seems weird, so... His first book, Safe Sex in the Garden, introduced a groundbreaking theory. Single-sex male trees and shrubs were making us sick. Plants, trees, and shrubs do in fact have a gender. Most are monoecious, meaning that they have male and female flowers. For example, hazelnut, apple, and most citrus trees produce perfect flowers containing male and female parts within a single blossom. But a few, like ginkgo, mulberry, and ash trees, are dioecious, meaning each is distinctly male or female. Ogren says the latter are the problem, the male ones. He argues that while males don't litter the ground with seeds, roots, or pods, they do emit high quantities of pollen into the air and up our noses. Okay, so just to set it up, okay, most plants don't have a gender. I know it's crazy, but they have both. They basically have enough to do what they got to do. They either spread, their pollen by allowing it to blow in the wind, or bees or other insects, butterflies, whatever, they come, they pick it up, and then they carry it around for them, okay? But there are some trees and shrubs and plants that have more, like they're more male, and some that are more female. Female trees supposedly grow fruits and berries and stuff like that. The male trees pollinate the female trees. They produce pollen. So that's kind of like, the difference between the two. So monoecious means they have both sexes in them. I don't know if sex is even the right word for it. And the dioecious ones are basically the female trees give birth to fruits and nuts. The male trees jizz all over everything. So that's basically how, plants work, okay? If you're not an expert, as most people... Oh, sorry. Go ahead. You know where this is going? Yeah.
To hate, or condemnation of masculinity and maleness in trees.
Yeah, kinda. If you're not an expert, most people aren't, just look for the berries, though it depends on the species, Ogren explains. For example, if it's a holly and it has red berries, it's a female, even if there's only one red berry on the whole bush. If you have a holly and it never makes any berries, it's almost certainly a male. Likewise, if you have a juniper bush and it makes little juniper berries, then it's female. If it never makes a berry, it is male.
Okay, but I'm just something occurs to me. Because Mel Magazine is supposed to be riding along with Mel's, I think, shaving shit. Like, I think it's
Harry's or Dollar Shave Club, yeah.
Harry. Well, we better find out for sure, because we don't want to. But is it Harry's or is it Dollar?
I think it's Dollar Shave Club. Yeah. Let me see. Mel Mag Dollar Shave.
Oh yeah, Dollar
Club.
Shave Club is Mel Magazine. Okay, so this is supposed to just like these stupid articles are supposed to ride along with their men's shaving equipment or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Right. Like a fucking leech on some, like a trout or something. But it just occurred to me, why would men want to read articles about how masculinity is bad?
I don't think they do. I think we're one of very few people who read them, and we're probably just I'm hate reading, so.
Why would Dollar Shave Club think, we cater exclusively to men? I know. Let's send men literature about how masculinity is bad.
Yeah. Well, I don't think guys actually read this stuff. I think that the money they make off of the razors pays for the website and the people who write for it. You know what
I just realized it is? It's that social credit score for capital.
Oh yeah, for sure. It's ESG and what is the other one? It's like corporate index, corporate equality, CEI, corporate equality index. Yeah, that's what it is.
All these people all of these failed novelists to write birdcage liner. Because that's basically what's going to happen. You're right. Men aren't going to read it. They probably are just thinking of this as a freebie. We just send out these cheap-ass pamphlets with these crappy writers' pretensions to actually being able to write fiction. And men are just going to use it to, catch oil when they, change the oil in the car or use it to line, who knows, kitty litter. And nobody's going to read this shit except us because we're perverse. And it's win-win-win.
Well, we like to see the absolute state. When the supply of misogyny is so low, you have to figure out ways to create the demand, or the demand is so low that you have to find ways to create a supply.
It's like going to an exotic culture, like one of those, like those really entrenched ancient cultures that have the most bizarre, intricate rituals that make absolutely no goddamn sense anymore.
Mm-hmm.
because they no longer exist in like the climactic conditions that created them. They're just like a little archaic snow globe. You
Yeah.
just watch gnomes go about their business. I guess that's what we're doing.
Yeah, I think we're violating the Prime Directive.
No, I don't think so, because I've only interacted with them once, and it was immediately a no-sale, okay? I've only interacted with Mel once.
Yeah.
And
oh, that's right. I think that might have had a butterfly effect. They seem to not be able to let go of men's issues advocates.
Yeah, they still love us for some reason. Okay, let's keep going.
Let's keep going. So, although Ogren never finished high school, he did earn a master's degree in agriculture and horticulture from California Polytechnic State University. That said, most of his expertise in recognizing allergic plant life has come working in the field, literally. He's been a lemon picker in Santa Barbara, a dairy farmer in Minnesota, a brakeman in the Santa Fe Railroad, and a landscaper in a prison, which is actually where a light bulb went off. He was newly married to his wife, Yvonne, who was suffering from allergies and asthma. Attempting to educate himself on her plight, he began reading a book by a psychologist who believed allergies, which tend to hit women hardest, to be psychosomatic. Ogren thought so too and was quite unsympathetic. He still, though, continued to study the connection between plants and allergies. Maybe, I don't know, I don't know if this is true, but I don't know about the psychosomatic thing. But it could be that men are more likely or less likely to complain if they're dealing with anything.
Men are more likely to have gotten in contact with things that would improve their immune system or train their immune system not to engage in these kind of hyperallergenic reactions. Men are less likely to clean to the point of no longer being clean.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let's annihilate all the good bacteria on our skin and let staph replicate to the point where our fingers are falling off, sort of theory. That might be the thing, but no, let's go with men thought that allergies were. When was this? Like, okay, he's in his 70s. Like, this was like what? When did anybody think that? Because I have never heard anybody say until this moment that allergies are psychosomatic. Have you?
Well, this is the word hit women hardest links to Medical News Today from 2011. It says, do allergies affect men more than women? Possibly. So this actually makes the opposite argument. Do allergies affect men more than women? I mean, I think it just depends on the person. Maybe like your.
I don't understand why it matters.
Yeah, I don't either. I mean, like, I don't know. Like we have ways of dealing with it. So.
We have ways of dealing with your.
Yeah, we have ways of dealing with allergies. Okay, I was on a prison landscaping job, and there were lots of acacia trees around, he recalls. I noticed my workers sniffling and sneezing a lot, and suddenly I realized how wrong I'd been. His exact realization? That the plants producing the most allergy-triggering pollen were male, and that most municipal plantings were just male plants to mitigate the droppings. Further research led him to patenting the Ogren Plant Allergy Scale, a first-of-its-kind reference guide to the allergy levels of more than 3,000 common trees, shrubs, flowers, and grasses. Okay, so to sort of like simplify that, he discovered that male trees, when there are gendered trees in those cases, they give off a lot of pollen, like I said before, and the female trees, they grow fruits and berries and nuts and stuff like that. So in cities, in like cities like New York or Chicago or whatever, like the crowded areas where they want to grow trees, they plant male trees because female trees make a mess. Right? Like they'll drop, berries everywhere. I know that in Humboldt Park, back home in Chicago, there were trees that grow little like crab apples, and they will drop all over the place, and they'll, people will be stepping on them, and they'll just fall off the trees, and they rot, and it's gross. And so in a lot of places, they'll just plant male trees instead because we want trees, but But we don't want the mess, so we plant the male trees. So it's sort of it's a trade-off, just like everything else in life. You either get messy fruit everywhere and no pollen, or you get pollen. So you have to, decide which. And so we went with, let's just deal with the pollen. And of course, that means it's sexist. So, anyway. So, did you want to say anything, or should I continue?
Yeah, men are more useful in this instance. That means it's sexist.
Yeah, or practical. I mean, do we want plants or not? I thought that we cared about the earth. So,
okay.
All right. His exact realization. No, I already read that part. Today in Ogren's Pickup, we're on the lookout for tree semen. That's what they're calling it, but it's pollen. An overabundance of which he believes has resulted from 75 years of exclusively planting all male trees in urban landscapes. In some cities he studied, male trees make up more than 80% of all those planted. Along with climate change, Ogren says this phenomenon, which he refers to as botanical sexism, is the reason why allergies have gotten so bad. So this is the reason why I thought it was weird that they were kind of painting him out to be a patriarch and a dude, when he's literally like a male feminist that just happens to decide that botany is sexist, horticulture is sexist, right? So
this is
a little ridiculous.
At what point do we just stand back and just look at this and say, okay, no. No. I mean, at this point, it really is the strange gnomes in their feather caps.
Yes.
Just going through bizarre motions that have absolutely no... We're appeasing the primal volcano goddess. It's like, well, yes, but we understand. We understand, geology now. We don't need this. No, don't be misogynist. This is enough.
I'm sure there's an article somewhere that says that volcanoes are men.
You're misogynist.
yeah, because more women die in lava flows or something. So, and again, they're just throwing in climate change, which I don't know. I thought we were supposed to preserve the trees, guys. I don't get it. Why is it? Oh, the male trees can all die off. Is that the problem? What?
What's the solution? Okay, we haven't gotten to a solution.
No,
let's blame men. I guess that is the solution for our culture.
Perhaps.
Oh, how can we blame men?
We
figured out how to blame men. The problem is solved. Let's keep going, doing exactly the same thing. Haven't you noticed that?
Yeah.
What's that knocking sound in the engine?
They don't want solutions.
Harry. That's the solution. Let's just blame men.
No.
Knocking sound's still knocking, but we know who did it, so that's good. Let's keep going. God damn.
They don't want solutions, Alison. They want perpetual revolution forever. They just want to blame forever. That's it. They don't want, because if you solve the problem somehow, then they won't have anything to complain about. So they gotta. There's always a new layer. By saying, we have a problem with male trees. There's too many of them. We need to eliminate 90% of the male tree population. Obviously that's not going to happen because nobody's could be bothered to actually go through with it, and it would be a tremendous undertaking, and it would probably ruin our landscape, because we need male trees just like we need female trees. But they don't care. They're just gonna whine about it and forever. It's just an endless. There is no end to this. It's just a spiraling into the abyss of complaining about everything and blaming it on men and patriarchy and whatever. So I don't think they want a solution at all. I think they like to hear the sound of their own voice bitching.
Yeah, this is not a recipe for failure. Okay, there's a problem. There's a trash fire over there. Well, we'll just blame men and not do anything to put it out. Be just that's the solution. Just blame men.
They may propose something, you could just plant female trees, but you're going to get the other problem. You're going to get a mess. You're going to have fruit everywhere.
Yeah, you're going to have the problem that female everything brings.
Yeah, right.
Logistics. No shit, I'm right, aren't I? You always need more logistics.
Yeah.
That's why people in third world countries, they don't want to necessarily have girls because they bring more logistical challenges. It's not that they don't want girls, it's just that they want enough boys to be able to provide for those girls. You know? Because females bring logistical challenges. And it's just reality. Of course, we can't recognize that because recognizing that would give a very strong counter argument to this idea that women have been oppressed throughout history.
Yeah.
No, they haven't been oppressed throughout history. It's just that they have unique logistical challenges that need to be accommodated.
Yep.
Okay.
All right.
Sometimes you just don't want the logistical challenges, so you just put men in.
Yeah, well, that's just it. Like, why deal with the problem? We can blame men and then make them figure it out. I mean, that's kind of, like, what?
Well, just use men like we have throughout history where we can't handle the logistical challenges of using women.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we just put a male tree there when we don't have the money to pick up the fucking crab apples.
Yep.
That's all I'm saying. Okay.
All right. Do you have to do any arm twisting? It's been a half an hour.
I don't think we're gonna be able to do
the fundraising thing. Okay.
Yeah, it's totally borked, and nobody has put anything through in our fundraiser. Please consider doing that. I really appreciate it, guys. feedthebadger.com/support if you would put something in there for us so that we can make sure that we can continue to do this for another 10 years.
Good Lord.
No, I mean, at least we can do it, right?
Yeah.
We live in a world and a time.
Well, for now.
We can do this.
For now, yeah.
For now, yeah.
Well, yeah. So if you can,
badger.com/support.
Yeah, please support us.
I think if I could do some arm twisting.
I mean, I think that's enough.
Yeah, you think so? Okay.
Yeah, I think that's good.
Hopefully, just $5, $10, guys. Just put something in so that we know that it was worth it to ask, I suppose.
Okay.
feedthebadger.com/support. Okay, go on.
All right, Albatross gives us a $5 super chat and says, "I'm late to this, but I'm going to assume that nature and evolution itself is misogynistic. You would be right, except that we also have to blame men, so it's not just nature and evolution." Meredith G gave us a super chat for $5 and says, "Live fundraiser. So women want pretty trees in their urban environments and they don't want to have to clean up fruit-bearing trees. We plant trees that are heavy on the pollen and the women complain about the pollen. So we all sexist and erase the role women played in the decision making." Yeah, I mean, like, there is no such thing as a tree that does not try to pollinate or does not try to grow fruit. There's
funny that
it's one or the other. Those are your choices.
You know, it's almost like producing offspring is the thing that drives everyone.
Yeah, it's almost like that's what we're driven by as living organisms. Like around here where I live in the Pines, it's called the Pines Apartments, but that's because there are pine trees. And pine cones fall down from the pine trees all year round, so there's female trees and there's pine cones everywhere. But we all just kind of deal with it. So, whatever. And there's still allergenic plants as well.
The other thing, you get like maples. Holy crap, those things put out so many seeds and they root everywhere.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
They freaking root in a passing cloud. Do you guys deal with maples?
Yeah, sure.
Just a crack in a sidewalk and you got a maple. And it's 7 feet tall within a month. Yep. Those things are goddamn weeds. Weed trees. Okay. They're not weeds.
Well, no, but I understand what you're saying.
No, Jonathan is an orchardist, so he's not liking the maligning of trees.
Well, it depends. Are they male trees or female trees?
Okay, are male trees okay?
They just spread pollen. They're just jizzing everywhere. They're jizz.
Okay.
You're literally inhaling their jizz, and it makes you sneeze. This is
weeds.
Basically rape. I mean,
this nasal rape. That's what allergies.
That's what allergies are. Yeah, it's like somebody just without your permission, just a bukkake all over your face, like of pollen. So next time you hear Hannah talk about her allergies, just go there mentally. All right. Anyway, so we're looking for tree semen. In some cities, he studied male trees make up more than 80% of all those planted. Along with climate change, Ogren says this phenomenon, which he refers to as botanical sexism, is the reason why allergies have gotten so bad. It wasn't always this way. Before 1950, most of the trees in the U.S. urban forests were grown from seedlings and eventually evenly split amongst genders. That all began to change in 1949, Ogren says, when the USDA Yearbook of Agriculture offered the following advice. When used for street plantings, only male trees should be selected to avoid the nuisance from the seed. So there's a bit of conflation, because they're saying the urban forest was grown from seedlings and was evenly split. But then they go on to say that the USDA Yearbook of Agriculture advised that people plant only male trees. Now, of course, one could, if they were like rational and logical, they might say, oh, you mean a government organization gave like advice that could have bad backfiring on it, or because they didn't want to deal with the mess that female trees leave behind? Maybe that's the problem. Nah, it's men. It's the maleness of the trees. We need to give the trees hormone replacement therapy. That's what we need to do.
That's what I was going to say.
We need we need to trans the trees. Trans the trees. Yes. Give them hormone blockers. Don't let them.
Puberty blockers for the trees.
You can totally reverse it, guys. It's totally reversible. Just do it to the trees. Don't trees grow for like 100 years or something? Like, do we even know? Well, I mean, some trees grow pretty old, like oaks.
Do we even know the thoughts of a tree?
Yeah.
Does a tree have gender?
Apparently they do. Well, they have sex. I don't know if they have gender.
I mean, to have gender, I think.
Does the tree identify as
Does the tree
female?
Identify?
Yes.
And how does he know?
How do they? Really, yeah. Why are you assuming the tree's gender?
Pollen-bearing trees are female.
Yeah. How do they know they're not?
The trees? Exactly. Like, I mean, really, does he commune with the trees?
He speaks to them.
Does he understand the trees? No.
Yeah.
No, I don't think
peyote.
He wouldn't be coercively assigning them gender at seed.
Yeah, you bigot. Okay. So where was I? He claims. Let me see. Oh no. When used for street plantings, only male trees should be selected to avoid nuisance from the seed. He claims the epidemic of allergies started shortly thereafter. The numbers more or less back him up. That is, while in 1952 only 2% of the U.S. population had allergies, 30% of adults and 40% of children now have some form of allergic reaction to pollen. We've got a serious problem. What?
No, that doesn't back him up.
No, it doesn't.
That is at best correlation. You'd need a lot more evidence of correlation because there's plenty more that happened since the 50s. Let me tell you. Like, geez. For example, honestly, I doubt that people were exposed to less pollen when most of us lived on farms.
Mm-hmm.
Prior to the 50s, most of us lived on farms. You think there was less pollen when we were all like by forests on farms? No. This is ridiculous on its face. All right. And then we have all of the industrialization of food and food processing and all of the antimicrobacterial soaps and all of the other crap that we're doing. What is this? This is ridiculous. This is a ridiculous theory. This is a ridiculous man. He is ridiculous. Why is he continuing to be so ridiculous? Like, why does this man exist? And nobody has pointed it out and said you're ridiculous.
Could the birth control pill have also contributed to this problem? Since the birth control pill messes with female hormones, and then the children we've talked about the birth control pill and its side effects, right? Aiden did a thing on it in the 2019 ICMI. I don't think, and Karen's talked about it too, I don't think it's insignificant. I think that when you consider all of the factors that you brought up, Allison, as well as that, and maybe all the plastics and all of the processed food and the fluoride in the water is turning the freaking frogs gay and all these other things. Yeah, I think it's no wonder that there's all kinds of like, you know, like, I don't know, autoimmune issues, and diabetes and heart disease and all kinds of stuff. So I don't think it's just like too many male trees. It's the male trees.
But if we blame the male trees, we don't have to look at processed foods, certain medical interventions that may have become excessive, and other stuff like that. Like, we don't have to actually question corporations if we question men. I think that's the big key, isn't it?
Yeah. Well,
nor do we question the interaction between government regulation and corporations if we just blame it all on men.
Yeah.
What's that knocking in the engine? Oh, we're just gonna blame it on the men. Ignore it.
Yeah.
That's a solution, isn't it? Once we blame it on men, it goes away. It's like men are the carpet of our society. We just brush all the dirt underneath it, and it's gone. It's clean. Men are to blame. God damn. And this has to be the absolute proof of it, the absolute state of it, eh?
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. This is that.
I'm sure that they will surprise us anew, but I have to say, this is the most pure and refined example of there's a problem. Let's blame it on men, pretend we did something, and then move on.
Yep. Give us money. Okay.
Also, give us money.
Yep. We've got sorry. Go ahead. What?
I have some thank yous.
Oh, good.
I would thank our Remote Ruby for $5. Thank you, Remote Ruby.
Thank you, Remote Ruby.
Thank you. Come again.
And Meredith G for $100. Thank you, Meredith G.
All right.
Thank you very much. That's really nice. Thank you.
And if you would like to join our very generous supporters, please go to feedthebadger.com/support. Every bit helps. So $5, $10, if you have it, go and put it in. And thank you to everybody who can put in more. It's very appreciated. And you are the reason why we continue to be able to point this crap out.
Yep.
And continue to say, actually, I don't think you're fixing anything by just blaming men. I think you're just ignoring things.
Yep. It's very easy. Okay.
It's very easy.
It's really easy to just blame men or masculinity or whatever, maleness. This isn't even really blaming men. This is just blaming the masculine essence the fact that men exist.
The fact that there exists a male half to the reproductive whole.
Yeah. It's like if you find like the antlers of a deer in the woods, and let's say you trip on it or step on it and it hurts you, you're gonna suddenly become an academic, write a paper and talk about how, bucks are a problem because they're men and they're leaving their antlers all over the place.
Cause orthopodiatrists or orthopedic problems.
Yes.
But men, why men? Why did you do this?
Yeah. Okay.
Woman steps on rake in yard, hits face. Men
to blame.
Why did you do this?
Why did they invent the rake like that? Okay, we've got
It doesn't do that. Okay, go ahead.
We've got a serious problem, and it's getting worse, Ogren says. Male trees spew their gametes in every direction indiscriminately. Yeah! Next time you guys run into a male tree on the street, give it a fist bump for me. He adds, which is all well and good in the wild, where female trees soak up the pollen, give it to me, baby. But as urban forestry is now dominated by male trees, city dwellers are being drenched in tree spunk. They're actually saying this. Among the worst, he says, is the ginkgo tree. Take some ginkgo pollen, add a little warm water, and check it out under a microscope, he suggests. It looks just like bull semen. Worse yet, he continues, once the pollen gets in your nose, it will germinate and start swimming up there to get where it's going. Have you done this, sir? Like, okay. Oh my god.
This guy watched The Body Snatchers a few too many times.
I hope they think this is just really funny, because I mean, if they're actually like taking this guy seriously, this is like there's a reason why this guy like lives in his truck, is what I'm saying. Like he's like they found some weird guy in California, I know, crazy shocker, that like has this theory that plants are sexist because his girlfriend has allergies. I bet she loves that he says that to her too. I bet he's like, honey, baby, I got this figured out. It's not your fault. You don't have to take Claritin anymore or Benadryl. It's the male trees. It's patriarchal trees. We're going to take that down. I'm doing it for you, baby.
It's the it.
Yeah. It's so ridiculous.
Damn it. I'm just like, you're right. I would hope that this is just, look at this.
I don't. It's not.
I'm blaming conspiracy theorist.
Yeah, I don't think it's a joke though. I think that Mel Magazine is just like, oh, here's another way we can blame men while also asking them to buy our product. Anyway. All right. That's implausible, counters Sheila McCormick. It took a woman to say that. A professor emerita in pollen and plant fertilization at the University of California, Berkeley, who laughs off Ogren's contention. A 2006 paper from the National Institutes of Health, however, found that indeed ginkgo biloba are the only seed plants with motile sperm cells. While human sperm each have a single tail, or flagellum, ginkgo sperm have around 1,000. Well, and there's a video. I'm good. I don't really need to see jizz. Even plant jizz under a microscope.
Like, what are they trying to do? Just hover?
I don't know. Maybe they don't, and they're just moving really fast.
But like, are they like? They're like little miniature Cthulhu's. Okay.
Yeah, apparently. I mean, nature's scary.
That's weird. Yeah, nature is scary.
Yeah.
I think this was all set up just to be able to use the phrase "bull semen" again for Mel Magazine.
Yeah.
I think it was all leading. I think we got the money shot there, Brian. It's all going to be afterglow from here.
Yeah, it's all. Now that that's out of the way, I am suddenly sleepy. Richard Beer gives us a $4.99 super chat and says, just for fun, look up the news story about the racist pollen attack in South Carolina. It was the mayor of the town making the claim. Yeah, well, I'm sure. I've heard all of these ridiculous arguments, but thank you for that. I will look it up. There's this car. I don't know if you guys can hear the alarm. Can you hear the alarm going off? Somebody's car alarm is blowing up. You know, one thing about Southern people is they're not very quick to respond to shit like this. Like, this is going to go for like a solid couple minutes before someone turns off the alarm in their car. I could not imagine doing that. Like, I would be like just too worried about annoying other people. I would go immediately out there and stop it. But whatever. Okay. Sorry, that was a bit of a digression.
South Carolina mayor says yellow sticky substance on her car was sprayed by vandals. Police say it's just pollen.
Yeah. The Proud Boys did it.
Actually looks, no, but now she can say it's part of the patriarchy.
Yeah, she could. The patriarchy. That's correct. Yes. Jeez.
That was worthy of Hannah, wasn't it?
Yeah. No, it's good. It's good. It deserves a rim shot. All right. But back to the inequality of it all. This is just like typical sexism, Ogren says, pointing to a row of identical clone cypress trees lining a sleepy San Luis Obispo cul-de-sac. It's the old boys club. Males are preferred and females are considered to be shit. Despite there being thousands of trees they could have used, all we see now are the same male clones. Is this guy joking? Oh my god. These look at these trees. Look at those male trees standing there with all that wood. Just like exposing themselves to us.
I'm sorry, Brian.
Masagi trees.
This has to be peak
No,
bullshit.
no. I think this guy.
No, you got this. This has to prove to people that there's no way you can believe this shit for real. which really begs the question: where once you recognize the top of the mountain of blaming men as shit,
Yeah.
how far do you have to dig to realize the whole thing is shit?
It's not. Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think there's plenty more things you could call sexist. You know what this reminds me of? And Lindsay pointed this out when she showed me this story, because she's the one that found the original website that this was from. Remember, did we go through like an academic paper about a flower or something and the sexism? Do you remember that? It was like a lily or something. Do you remember?
Remember the lily.
Do you remember that? We went through. It was an academic paper like a year or 2 years ago.
Yeah, it was like
the water lily.
5 years ago. Yeah, it was like the patriarchal oppression of water lilies or something.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. We're just revisiting that.
Oh yeah, and also it was the one that had that I had that insight.
Mm-hmm.
That when they talk about non-binary, gender fluid, they just mean female.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anything but male is essentially what they
yeah, there's two genders. There's male and then there's everything else. There's the oppressor and then there's everybody else. So
yeah, exactly. Then the funny thing is that these people who are like, "Oh, we're non-binary." Oh, you're still binary.
Yeah.
You still separate people into those who take responsibility, or who should take responsibility because they are to blame, and those who should be coddled, maybe is the right word, that their emotional experience should be centered, and the people, the responsibility takers, should take responsibility for that.
Mm-hmm.
That's the dichotomy. It's like you got the responsibility takers who need to take responsibility for the experience of the experiencers, and it's like that's still a binary.
Yep.
Still got one. Okay. I think that I really think that I think Oculus has, for the first time in years.
Yes.
Okay, Jonathan has figured something out, but he has had to find a way to download an old version. So he's basically hacking Beat Saber.
Okay. Are we gonna be able to do it today, or do you want to just do it on Wednesday?
I think that this is not going to happen today.
Yeah. Okay. We'll see.
Half an hour.
I'm going to. What?
He says maybe within half an hour, but...
All right. Well, we'll see. I'm just going to keep reading the article in the meantime. So, but back to the... Okay, so yeah, right. Ogren's hypothesis is echoed by Ravishankar Palanivelu, Associate Professor of Plant Science at the University of Arizona. People trying to solve a problem, all male plants are litter-free because they shed no messy seeds, fruits, or pods, inadvertently created another one, having too much pollen in the air, leading to many intangibles relating to people's exposure to excess pollen, he explained. There's no quackery associated with that, agrees David Neal, a professor of plant sciences at the University of California, Davis, who confirms that there is a widely understood strategy of planting male-only trees to mitigate the nuisance of female droppings. Planting these male-specific pollen-producing trees in abundance in the urban environment is just adding to the problem. It's not the sole source of pollen, but it certainly has contributed. Maybe don't live in the city. I mean, like, they're always trying to find ways to, like, make big cities work, and if you don't like that, maybe you should move to a smaller city or town.
City, smaller town. Like, I was like listening to all this 15-minute city crap, and I'm like, yeah, they're already 15-minute cities. They're called towns.
Yeah. Just go move to one. I mean, I live in a city that is like a tenth of the size of Chicago, but it's still pretty big. It's like 300,000 people. You know, Chicago's 3 million. And there's plenty of nature. There's trails and parks and there's lakes and rivers. I mean, it's got everything. And I don't have, well, I've never really, I think I was allergic to a certain fungus, but that was in Chicago and it only happened once, one summer. But like, yeah, I mean, it's, you know, it's like they want to make the urban big cities work but in the way that they want it to work, you know, so that there's like, they don't want pollen, they also don't want messy fruit everywhere, but they want trees because they care about the environment. So how do you just gotta leave.
Controlled mechanical system.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, we have probably, I don't even think they made a distinction between male and female trees, but it doesn't matter because when they drop the pine cones, there's enough lawn for them to be absorbed or enough wildlife to eat them.
Yep. Yeah, it's almost like there's a circle of life.
Yeah, and if you allow there
Elton
to
John
be
put it. Or
wilderness around, then a lot of these problems become less. But if you want to live in a brick shit box on top of other fucking rats in your little cages, then yeah, you're gonna find that your problems compound.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
All right.
So maybe don't live there.
Maybe not.
Not
a bad idea. Okay, I got another super chat from Richard Bier, gives us $1.99 and says, "Park bullshit, challenge accepted, any writer." All right. Thank you for that. All right, where was I? Yes, they were quoting a whole bunch of experts to chime in, because if you got an expert opinion, then it's basically a fact. In Ogren's truck, a pair of well-defined biceps peek through. What are you doing? What are you doing? His arms were glistening in the sun. Can I just hear about the male trees that you hate so much instead of the dude you obviously want to, like, I don't know, get in his pants?
The silver fox.
Yeah, the silver fox, like, country boy. He's got a girlfriend, dude. In Ogren's truck, a pair of well-defined biceps peek through the sleeves of a t-shirt reading "Beers Not Bombs" as Ogren points to a row of xylosma hedges in front of a home, all of which he says are male and highly allergenic. The biceps are evidence of a 20-plus year career as a boxer. Ogren ran away from home when he was 15 and joined a traveling carnival, where he immediately strapped on a pair of gloves and hopped in the ring. This guy sounds so legit, guys. If he stayed in for 3, this is what multi-classing does. This is why I'm against it in D&D. You start off one thing, and then and then you end up doing all these little things. You're not great at any of them. Don't multi-class in life, guys. Stick to one thing.
You're like, no. I'm the botanist pugilist. You know?
Botanist, pugilist, truck driver, fisherman. Who knows what else? Circus guy.
Circus.
I'm sorry. It's not a circus. It's a carnival. Completely different.
Had a varied life.
Yeah.
Varied. Druid. That was the word. He's a pugilist druid. Is that the word?
A monk druid.
Yeah. A bare-fisted druid.
Okay, so he strapped on a pair of gloves and hopped in the ring. If he stayed in for 3 rounds, he'd typically win $25 or $50. Meanwhile, the guys from the carnival would go around and place bets with the locals. If Mark wasn't very tough, we'd lose the second round on purpose to get more bets down. This guy's like in his 70s, so $25 was probably a lot of money when he was like 15. Or 20, maybe, when he was, I don't know how long he did this for, but
he ends his life. This is going to be what his life, this culmination of his life, is that he spoke out against tree spooge.
No, there are no longer circuses around today. This is, like I said, many years ago but this is not a circus, this is a carnival. It's a little different because circuses have like animals and clowns and stunt people, and carnivals just have rides and games. So he was probably in some game where it was like, if you can last 3 rounds with this guy, kind of a thing. So, okay. Richard Bier says, based for $4.99, Based on the contents of his truck, it sounds like the writer was describing a traveling serial killer, attempting to paint him like that. Yeah, well, the writer got his article written, but I guess we'll wait and see if he turns up missing. Okay. Meanwhile, the guys from the carnival would go around and place bets with the locals. If Mark wasn't very tough, we'd lose the second round on purpose and get more bets down. My folks didn't know if a Mark, like a person, a customer, wasn't very tough, we'd lose the second round on purpose to get more bets down. My folks didn't know where I was for a long time until the cops grabbed me, he says with a sigh, before pointing to 4 more male ash trees alongside a house. There are 9,000 ash trees in St. Louis Obispo, and only 6 or 7 are female, he says. One of which is in my collection. That's him.
This guy has a holy attraction to
silver foxes?
tree pussy. No,
tree
I'm
pussy.
talking about this silver fox.
Oh yeah,
He's
yeah.
got this whole, he's got this whole bull walrus thing going on. Like, I'm gonna be the one with all the females, all the males, you get out. Except he seems to be projecting it onto trees.
Oh yeah, I guess he's got an Instagram, so not a complete primitive. Ogren, who calls himself a botanical feminist, cultivates trees from cuttings taken from the female branches of monoecious trees, again, those bearing both male and female flowers, in his backyard as a chivalric gesture for Yvonne. So I told you it was for the girl. I told you. Re-landscaping their home to remove any... What? Okay.
It's a male and female tree, so they have both parts. They're hermaphroditic, and this is
Most of them are.
Once again, woman is everything that is not man. I mean, we called that. Remember? Okay, Hopkins Hospital, I think, is medicine is saying using the term "not man" for woman.
Yeah, Johns Hopkins.
We called that. John Hopkins, yeah, we called that, or I called that when we talked about consider the water lily, and the bias against the water lily. Mm-hmm. That what it really is men and everything that's not men.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, and that's the deterioration of thinking that all of this leads to, because everything that's not men is everything that can be seen as a victim, presented as a victim. Can have their experience can be said to be one of vulnerability, so we need to center concern around them. And then you have men who have to take responsibility. So it really, like, the sexes really are men who have to take responsibility and not men.
Mm-hmm.
And John Hopkins is just being completely accurate to our social reality now. I mean, we could just look at women and say, hey, they're their own thing, and they have their own powers that they need to take responsibility for. Therefore, there are women and there are men. But no, because we can't recognize the possibility that there could be anything negative about women, we can't recognize the possibility that there can be women. Do you see how that works?
Excuse me. Yes. I was just about to sneeze when you asked me that question. I'm sorry.
We could rhetorical. Are you getting me? Are you grokking me? Because I'm feeling this intuitively, but maybe it makes no sense when it comes out of my mouth.
No. I mean, we've been saying it. That there's the category of not men is a thing that exists. Why are? I mean, I'm not saying it's purely as a response, but there are a lot of people born male that are identifying as trans or non-binary or gender fluid or something. And I think it's because they're trying to grasp at something that's going to, like, acknowledge them as humans. And staying a man after everything that you told about men, it doesn't seem very appealing. So it's no wonder, that like gender dysphoria is through the roof, especially with trans women. And yet, when they say, I think I want to live as a woman, feminists get upset because now these men are in their space. Suddenly they're men again. They're no longer part of the not men category anymore. So.
Yeah. Well, it's going to be interesting to resolve it, because I would honestly say that this is a symptom of something far deeper than just woke. It's a symptom of our culture's inability to recognize that there's anything positive that men contribute. Not even the expectation that men take responsibility in a way that no other group is expected to.
Yep.
We can literally, I mean, I was thinking about this today. If you had this situation, okay, if you had a nail in a board, right? You just imagine a nail in a board, okay? And all you have to do to ensure another 10,000 years of prosperity in the West is to hammer that nail down into the board, okay? And that's all. But in order to do it, you need a hammer. And in order to pick up the hammer, you have to admit to yourself and to the world that men have something positive that they uniquely contribute to the world. You realize that neither feminists nor traditionalists would be able to nail down that or hammer down that nail. They'd never be able to pick up that hammer. Not in a million years, because for traditionalists, the only thing good about men is the duty that's applied to them and the shaming that's done to them. And for feminists, there just ain't nothing good about men. So that's it. We're never gonna nail down that, hammer down that nail, and we're never gonna solve this problem. Because the one thing you need to do to solve it is simply recognize that men have a unique value that they contribute to society. That's it. But they're not gonna do it. And when you can't recognize that unique value that men contribute to society, you end up in this bizarre situation where you're constantly destroying the concept of male and female. Because you can't, like, at the same time as there is no woman, everything is woman. All psychology is woman. There is no perspective that isn't woman. There is no legitimate being that isn't female. But at the same time, all that woman is victim. So it's like, okay, I'm just getting off in the weeds. Let's get back onto why male trees are bad.
All right. This tree alone will produce over 1 billion grains of pollen, he says, of a giant male oak in front of an elementary school. But there are no females to pick it up, so where's it gonna go? In our noses and in our eyes, that's where. Just all over. Lonely trees jerking off, nobody's around. The trees are incels now, which of course means they're dangerous. So next to it stand.
They're invading our blood.
Yeah. Next to it stand a pair. What was that?
They're invading our nasal passages with their Cthulhu sperm, their tentacle monster sperm.
Yep. They're raping us. Next to it stand a pair of male Chinese elm trees. In the fall, those will make kids sick. A lot of the most allergenic landscapes I find are at schoolyards, he explains. I imagine the natural testosterones in pollen makes the boys so horny that it's hard for them to concentrate on school, while large doses of it could even lead to things like road rage. Oh, yeah, that's what it is. Oh, God. Do you really believe this?
It's like taking over young men's brains and making them rapey. What?
I mean,
okay. And let me tell you where the logic of this, the progression here, and how it ties to what I'm saying. You notice how they just can't freaking admit that this has absolutely nothing to do with sexism. Well, it simply is that female trees are impractical. They produce too much mess. Period. It's not that male trees are preferred, it's that they just don't want to deal with the mess that female trees produce. They just have a negative that people don't want to deal with. That's the thing. We can't recognize that femininity and women have negatives that need to be accommodated. So instead, we say, well, it's sexist why we're not doing this. It's sexist why women can't be in this situation where you can't get reliable, like hygiene or whatever. It's sexist, and and just like he's saying here, it's sexist that we choose male trees instead of female trees, rather than it's just a practical biological reality. Okay? Because he will not, or people will not recognize that there are negatives that women bring to the picture. Okay? There are problems and logistical issues that women bring. We just can't see that because we can't bear to blame women or femininity for anything.
I wonder if his solution is going to be to cut down the male trees. Is that anti-environment? All right. My eyebrows sufficiently raised, I turned to Theodore C. Friedman, an endocrinologist in LA, to see if inhaling natural testosterone could actually have such an effect on humans. I kind of wish that was a thing, because we could all use some testosterone, to be honest, but while he can't speak to the horny schoolboy claim, aggressive behavior like road rage is possible, he says, adding that for women it could lead to extra hair growth, acne, and infertility, and in children it could result in starting puberty earlier and a shorter stature. It sounds like you're saying all the stuff that absent fatherhood does, and like a pill, but okay. Messing with your hormones.
But really, is there testosterone in pollen?
There is an article, PubMed, and it looks like it's a paper. It says testosterone, epitestosterone, and androstenedione in the pollen of Scotch pine, P. sylvestris L. And I don't know if there's I can't look at the paper.
And also,
but
testosterone doesn't do any of these things.
No, it does not. That's what I'm saying. It doesn't do the things that they claim it does.
Maybe it makes people hornier, but that doesn't.
Yeah, maybe. But I mean, do middle school boys even need it? Because their bodies are on fire when they get to when they start to hit puberty. So I don't know that more testosterone is going to make that worse. I don't think we're
dealing with overall a lowering of testosterone.
Yeah.
It's got to be a minor issue. But the other thing is this aggression. Testosterone isn't implicated in aggression.
No, I mean I know that they're always saying that, but it's actually estrogen
that's implicated in aggression.
Yes. So.
All right, but okay, how much more of this?
That's not a lot. Why do you want to do the fundraiser stuff now? It looks like you.
Apparently, Jonathan has fixed it, and now I must do it because he has spent so long fixing it.
I mean, I can keep reading while you're doing. I could keep reading while you're doing the.
All right, we'll do that. Okay, I'll be right back.
Okay, Allison's gonna join us on the stream here. You guys should be able to hear the music. And I'm going to try and turn on the Discord. Looks like yes. Yes! I think we're good here. Let me just turn off the screen capture. So you guys can see Beat Saber. So there it is. Allison's getting in. See if I can hear her when she starts talking. And I do have a... Oh, let me get my phone. Hold on a second. I need my phone so I can look at the requests. Because I'm currently sharing the Discord stream right now, right? So I can't look at the requests and do that at the same time. Whew. I don't know if Allison's trying to talk, but I can't hear her if she is. So, let me just... I'll message her. I can't hear you if you're talking. Alright. So, let me see here. I don't know if I'm going to, just as an aside, I might do more Jedi Survivor, I don't know, this weekend coming up. I don't know though. Depends. And I now have a JoJo cam, or Jojo, our dog.
Hi.
Oh, there you are. Okay.
Yes, I'm here.
Okay.
So are you able to see everything now?
Yeah, I can see everything.
I can get the first one, because I also have the ability to look at least the super chows, not the super chats, but okay. So if you want to send us a and give Jonathan a hand, because he just spent an hour and a half fixing this despite Oculus trying to break everything. B52's Rome. Okay, so that's what I'm gonna look at.
Yeah, that's Rome by the Beat. That's Great Indoors. $5. He says, okay, first song request for this Beat Saber stream is the B52's Rome, although it should be thought of as Rome, R-O-M-E, when listening to the chorus.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. With this B52.
B-52S.
Okay.
And Rome is spelled R-O-A-M.
B52.
Uh-oh.
S.
There you go.
There we go. There we go. We got it.
Yeah, well, it's pretty mainstream.
So send in those super chats, those requests.
I'm lowering
do these songs.
I'm lowering the volume a little bit just because I don't want to talk over it, and also it's not an obscure song. It's pretty well known, so we're probably gonna get like copyright claimed. It's fine. This is gonna go unlisted afterwards anyway, so.
Despite the Tribu Kaki conversation?
Yes.
Okay, here we go. Doing it.
Okay.
All right, here we go.
So.
And if you want to send in another song request, please do so. I guess we'll do at most 5. And, if it's really slow because of all the craziness at the beginning.
Yeah. All right.
So you can see everything?
Yep, I can see everything.
Okay,
it's good.
All right, let's continue with this nonsense.
Yep. Okay. So, where was I? While he can't speak to the horny schoolboy claim, aggressive behavior like road rage is possible, he says, adding that for women it could lead to... Oh yeah, I already read that. And he does think environmental factors are affecting men's lower testosterone levels and sperm counts, both of which have declined over the last 40 years. So, what? Yeah, we know it's been going down. So how are you blaming this on testosterone from trees? Something in the environment is causing this, but nobody seems to know what it is.
Don't look at it too closely. Don't look at the logic too closely.
Right.
We don't logic. That's
completely...
That's trees.
Testosterone's going down,
but the logic.
But trees are spreading it.
The logic is the trees' possession of your brain.
It's ridiculous.
By their pollen testosterone.
I mean, well, anyway. Something in the environment is causing this, but nobody seems to know what it is. Yes, it could be related to pollen, but it could also be a host of other things, like pesticides. Yeah, sure, but it seems like you're just throwing that out quickly. Others are far more skeptical. Ogren's theories aren't scientifically sound in any way, counters Matt Ritter, a botany professor at California Polytechnic State University and author of California Plants, A Guide to Our Iconic Flora. Oh, man. For one thing, all xylosma trees in California and the world are female and male, so I have no idea what Tom is talking about. He comes up with this idea, writes a book about it, by the way, discovering it while in prison, which they didn't really go into at all. They just said, yeah, he was in a prison. And he discovered this while in prison. What was he in prison for? For one thing, all xylosma trees in California and the world are female and male, so I have no idea what Tom's talking about. He comes up with this idea, writes a book about it, and it's scaring people who don't know what he's talking about. It doesn't make any sense because it's not scientifically proven. It's based in fear, which takes you a long way in the world. Just look at Trump.
Wait. Why would this be causing people fear? Who reads this stuff and is like, oh my god, I'm terrified of the rapey trees. Oh my god. Do you remember the cartoon we did? Or Mike did?
Oh yeah.
This was before your time. The sloth?
I kind of remember that. It is old. It's one of his early cartoons.
That accuses the tree of rape.
Yeah.
It's come full circle.
Speaking of full circle, so it doesn't make any sense because it's not scientifically proven. It's based in fear, which takes you a long way in the world. Just look at Trump. Dude, Orange Man.
Womp womp. God damn.
Oh.
Okay, you people on the left, are you gonna honestly say that you don't also traffic in fear? Or
Of
even
course they
more?
do. What are you talking about? What's patriarchy?
Come on, man. Give me a little break here.
What,
all right.
Is this just too crazy? Is this just too crazy? The fact that this guy is like, there's a patriarchy.
Yeah,
You know,
a
that's
patriarchy.
too much.
Yes.
No, the idea that there's sexism in botany, that's too much. But the idea that all men are in some goddamn conspiracy to keep the woman down and elevate other men, that's not too much. And that's also not fear-mongering.
I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you.
I think the Botanical Sexism actually makes more sense, to be honest. Which is to say, none. But, you know, there are cases where some life forms take over the brains of other life forms.
True that.
All right.
All right. No new super chat. Oh yeah, I did get something. Plain Dane gives us a super chow for $5 and says ginkgo biloba is used as a natural test booster, but like most test booster, it's useless. The agrochems, tainted water, female birth control, amphetamines, air pollution, and microplastics are more likely to affect your endocrine system. This explains why the increase in mental defects like homosexuality, gender dysphoria, autism, etc. Yeah, I don't think it's male tree jizz. No. I think there's a lot of other things that are.
I think you're preaching to the choir here. Everybody on this committee is in agreement that the trees aren't taking over our brains.
You know, you remember that M. Night Shyamalan movie called The Happening? Do you remember that?
Oh, it's
yes.
all coming together.
I was.
We spoke too soon.
I was just talking to Lindsay about that movie because I was talking about how sometimes, like, I was talking about suspension of disbelief and how in some circumstances, if you're telling a story, if you have a film, suspension of disbelief is okay if the premise is already a little bit like silly, though people are willing to sit down and accept it. Like, you know, in Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, there's like a plane and it's going to crash, and I think that Indy and Short Round and the girl, they all get into like this life raft, this inflatable raft, and they fall out of the airplane and they land in the river or something, right? They're basically saved, right? And Lindsay was like, that's ridiculous, it's impossible. And I was like, yeah, but it's Indiana Jones. Like, and I said, look, you can take it too far, like him getting in the fridge in like the Crystal Skull and like surviving a nuclear explosion. That's ridiculous. But in Raiders and the other ones, that's fine. I also talked about how I said that in The Happening, the reason why it doesn't work is because The Happening is an M. Night Shyamalan movie, and he's usually trying to do something that is plausible. It's not meant to be like pulpy and over the top. And in The Happening, the trees were killing people. Like they were like spreading a pollen in the air that was causing people to commit suicides. That was what it was doing. Okay, that's not ridiculous. I mean, I think it's kind of an out there premise for a thriller or whatever kind of movie it was. But what was really ridiculous was there was this one moment in the film, this one scene where Mark Wahlberg and all of these like the human survivors, like the group of survivors, they're like walking through this field of tall grass, and he notices the wind is blowing, and it's like blowing towards them, and they can see the grass kind of like, you know, moving with the wind, and they run from the grass because they're trying to avoid the wind, right? And so they manage to outrun it, I think, and survive. I can't remember exactly. And I was like, when I saw that, I was like, I'm done. This movie's garbage. Like, I couldn't take it. And yet, when I watched The Mummy Returns, there was a similar scene I was telling Lindsay about. There was a similar scene where in the Mummy movies, which are ridiculous, over-the-top, pulpy films, so you're just like, you just let all that shit go that doesn't make sense. There's a bit where, what is it, Rick O'Connell, I think, he's he's got his son, and his son is wearing like this magical Egyptian bracelet, and if the son isn't inside this temple by the time the sun comes up, he's gonna die, right? So Rick is running, and he's holding his son in his arms, and he's running towards the temple, and the sun is rising behind him in the background, and you can see the sun, like he's running, and the shadow of the temple is like, receding as he heads towards the door, and of course he makes it, but that doesn't make any sense, because if you know how fast the sun can rise, like how fast the Earth rotates, it's like we don't feel it because we're on the Earth, but it doesn't make any sense yet, because it's a silly movie about mummies. You're just like, yeah, okay, like that's stretching it, but it's fine. But in The Happening, it makes no sense. Like that's supposed to be realistic. It's sort of like why The Happening doesn't work for me, and why Signs doesn't work for me, because you just can't shake the fact that aliens that fear water would come to a planet that's mostly water. Like you just no.
I guess what you're ultimately saying is that Bare Knuckles Druid has not successfully suspended your disbelief.
Yeah, no,
His
just
theory that we'll all be poisoned by
I am not
testosterone.
Moved by this.
I am not moved by this article. Have we gotten any further song requests?
No more song requests yet.
Great indoors. If you wanted to do another song, now would be the time.
Yeah.
So come on, get your song requests in, please, so that we can do them.
Yes, please put them through if you could.
Yes, put them through. Get them through.
I want to pay rent.
All
right.
Okay.
Back to the article.
Next one.
I don't have another song request yet.
And if you just want to support us directly, it's feedthebadger.com/support. I know it's slowed down a bit since Meredith G put something through, so please consider doing so. $5, $10, everything helps. But we definitely need to get our goal for the month, or we're going to, not necessarily be able to continue this work. So feedthebadger.com/support.
All right. Okay, so thank you, Plain Dane, for that super chow. Really appreciate it. All right, back to the article. Let's see. Ritter's not the only plant scholar poking holes in Ogren's misogynistic botany claims. Mr. Ogren's theory is unfounded purely because there are no numbers to support this idea that male cultivars dominate the landscape, says Sean Halloran, plant propagator at the Arnold Arboretum of Harvard University, adding that numbers and data analysis are what matters, not what we believe to be true. Confirmation bias lets you see what you want to see. It's possible that in one small area of an urban park, Ogren is correct, but when you look at the industry as a whole, I very much doubt this idea has legs. Isn't it ridiculous that he even feels the need to respond to these ridiculous claims? Isn't that like on its face? Like this is stupid.
In 1942, was it, or 49? The government says, yeah, let's maybe just prioritize male seed or male trees where we don't want to have to deal with leavings like fruit and other stuff. And there's like one guideline like 80 years ago.
Well, they were all sitting there with cigars and pipes, like telling slapping the secretaries on the behind and like, go and get me another coffee.
That's worthy of an article. It's worthy of this guy making his life's crusade. But feminists in like the 90s and naughties, whatever you want to call it, giving quotas or telling police precincts that they need to put in place quotas for how many women are arrested for domestic violence, and if it ever goes again over 15%, the precinct is going to be investigated for bias. That's okay. That's okay. That policy's okay. Like that policy that artificially enforces a quota on male victims of domestic violence. That's a freebie. That's perfectly understandable. But we gotta pretend that this guideline from 80 years ago about planting trees is some serious injustice. Of course, this guy is a crackpot, but on the other hand, this is getting a lot more attention.
Well, I mean, I don't know. It's getting attention from us, but it's just because of the work that we do. I don't think that this.
True.
I don't think this is a widespread idea. I hope not. It's kind of ridiculous, but all right. Anyway, nonetheless, Ogren's mission continues. Urban foresters in San Luis Obispo have recently contracted him to design the landscaping for a new housing project, the San Luis Ranch, which is presently an open field extending as far as the eye can see. Soon, however, it will have 580 new homes, a hotel, and a commercial area. The whole thing is going to be done according to Opals, which is his, I forgot, but his thing that he came up with. He says,
So
barely,
no, there are people listening to him.
Sure, in California. I mean, there's a person who contracted him. Maybe it's a good way for him to get work. He can just shill this crisis. Too many male trees. Don't you hate men too? You gotta do something about the male trees. And they're like, oh yeah, sure. I bet that it was women that gave him the money for this. Oh yeah, sure. Like the feminist bookstore chicks,
No, it was actually probably male philanthropists with the same kind of bull seal mentality.
Yeah.
Get rid of all the men, so all the competition for the women, so all the tree pussy will be ours. Just
yeah.
I still can't get over that Jubilee video where all of the male feminists are like in these various incredibly toxic levels of competition with other men.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, the one is like, I collected all the female tokens. I got the trans female, I got the black female, I got the lesbian paraplegic female. And I'm like, okay. And then the other guy's like, all of my morality is solely an expression of my massive heroism, personal heroism. It has nothing to do with, I don't share it with any other man. It's all mine. And all the women, I deserve all of them. And the other guy's like, yeah, I'm the attack dog that's going to protect all of my women against those men. And the traditional guys, or the guys who at least weren't feminists, were like, oh yeah, men have issues. We should support each other and make sure that we get heard, and we should work on these issues and not marginalize each other over them. And
yeah,
men have feelings too. And it's like, it was such a stark fucking difference.
Yep. Yep.
They really shouldn't call it like toxic quote unquote masculinity. It's toxic competitiveness, and feminist men are absolutely saturated with it.
Yep.
And I think that's what the draw is for feminism. It's like they're the only one who deserves the entire grove of female trees.
Yep, that's right.
All right.
Back to this.
Yeah.
Okay. Nonetheless, Ogren's mission continues. Urban foresters, they hired him. Soon, however, it will have 580 new homes, a hotel, and a commercial area. The whole thing is going to be done according to Opals, he says, barely able to contain his excitement. That's because it will be the first of its kind. So this is an experiment. Entirely non-allergenic landscape in the U.S. with 0 male-only clonal plants and trees, which he believes should be replicated nationwide. And there he is, looking like, I don't know, like Chong from Cheech and Chong. And that's the field. The biggest challenge to this effort, he says, will come from Big Nursery, the $41 billion garden store industry. Ogren wants them to follow the lead of Nigel Clark, owner of Kew Plant Center on the island of Guernsey, and in the English Channel, who labels every plant he sells with an Opals number. By doing this, so Opals is like his rating system. It's like DEI or social credit for trees and plants. By doing this, I'm not adding to the stigma already experienced by allergy sufferers, and I'm showing them that I genuinely care, which is really important. He's signaling his virtue. Clark tells me, adding that his business has significantly increased since he began the Opals labeling, and the doctors have begun recommending that their patients shop there. But as I've been the first in the world to do it, there's a long way to go. So he's shilling. He's a grifter. He's trying to use feminism to make money by telling people you should plant female trees. And guess what? I can do this for you. I have approved these products or these companies for my Opal's number, and they have the highest Opal score. You should buy the stuff from there, and I get a cut or whatever it is, right? So it is a scam as always.
Yeah,
Oh.
there's no apparently there's no scientific basis for it and there's no scientific basis for it. It's just preying on these guys, because you can see that it's men who are buying this as well. These guys desire to eradicate other men. It's like that toxic competition between men.
Yep.
Like that's what it's appealing to. That's what feminism appeals to. The toxic competition between men, to get men to separate from each other and give women resources as a way of impressing them. So this is basically just a sales pitch influencing those, and the funny thing is that it's a very powerful thing. Like this idea that you can, I don't know, annihilate other men, you could be justified in destroying and killing and ostracizing other men, is delicious to a certain type of guy. Who sees himself not in terms of his relationship to other men, but destroying other men. And this is what this guy is selling. And it's much, much, much more difficult sale, it seems, to tell guys, actually, when you support each other, and when you help each other, and when you care about each other's issues, you become stronger. And that is a stronger long-term strategy for society and for men. And it's also, ironically, a safer long-term strategy for women. Okay? To encourage male fraternity and support. And that is not as popular a sales technique. I guess it's just because men who want to support other men are rare. That seems really unlikely, since male cooperation is like the defining characteristic of humans.
Yeah.
Anyway, I've got a lot of thanks to give.
Oh, good.
Guys, I didn't realize I was twisting arms that hard.
Yeah, I told you it wasn't necessary to go crazy.
Okay, so first off, I want to thank Fantas Dan. I really hope that's not your real name. For $500. Thank you, Fantas Dan.
Oh, wow.
Sunsets are beautiful. Newborn babies are beautiful. This is fucking spectacular.
All right. Yeah, awesome. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for helping out. I know that a lot of you also helped out with my fundraiser to get the first down payment for my editing done. So really appreciate that. Okay, so next one is $5 from, give me a second. Sorry, I'm gonna have to skip that one for now.
Why?
$200. Oh, just because it's like giving me this stupid spinny hoop.
Oh, okay.
And I gotta reload. So $200 from Health Potion Addict.
Thank you, Health Potion Addict.
My spoon is too big.
That's a big spoon. It's bigger than
Cam D gave us $5. Cam D gave us $5. And then Randall O gave us $10. And I think that Randall also was the one who sent that super chow. Let me go.
All right.
Thank you very much. That's really nice. Thank you.
So, yes, I believe, let me just check here. Yeah. So we did get your $10 to the fundraiser, Randall O. So very much appreciated.
All right, thank you.
Okay, that's the thank yous. And so let's see where we're at. Just give me a second. Wait, I could go right here. That was dumb. Okay. So we are now at 1,445, which is pretty good for 5 days out. I know you guys always love to wait till the last 3 days.
Yeah.
which it's a little bit of an ulcer-inducing kind of thing, but I think what happens is people are the guys that support are just like seeing what everyone else does. so they're just sort of waiting in the wings, and then the last couple days, and they're like, oh, I guess it's time. But anyway, 1,445. We're 31% funded. We do have a ways to go yet. So if you're hearing us after we close it out, please go to feedthebadger.com/support and make sure we're able to do this work and continue to do this work. Very, very big thanks to everybody who helped out.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Did we have any other songs?
No song requests that I can see, and I'm looking at the super chows as well as the super chats, so don't see anything.
So, and I'm not seeing any either. And we're, like, how much more of this
article? Literally, I'm on the last paragraph. So
okay, let's take this.
Yeah, let's take it home.
Fantasy home.
Home stretch.
Honestly, if we can, if after this is all said and done, and we can just edit out the B52s, because there's an option when we get a copyright claim to just.
Oh yeah, okay.
Worth it just to do that and then make it live.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Yeah, we'll see what they say. Maybe we were talking over it enough that it doesn't matter. All right, so let us finish this. Ogren's been knocking on the door of U.S. nurseries for years. When he says nurseries, he means like they grow plants, not that they take care of babies. Offering to develop a line of female allergy-free trees and shrubs. If I buy a can of beans and have high blood pressure, I want to know if it's loaded with sodium. Why should plants be any different? But he believes Big Nursery continues to thwart his efforts. Because he put big in front of the industry, that means it's bad. Some of that crap you bring home could cause problems for you and your family for years, he warns. It may even cause problems for your dog. But they don't want that idea to get into the public and think of me as the enemy who's trying to destroy the horticulture trade. They won't even return my calls. Nevertheless, the botanical feminist persists. It's the end. Botanical feminism.
Okay.
You never thought that they would go there, but there it is. So
it's a sales trick, it's a sales trick.
Yeah, it is.
Blame men, and people are like, "Oh yeah, that makes perfect sense. We don't have to fix anything. We just have to blame men."
Yep, I'm gonna bring more of the female version of X into the world because we don't have enough of the female version of X. And other people are like, "Wow, you're gonna do that? That's great because female version." And he's like, just pay me and I'll do it. And you'll see a change. It's time. Like, that's they've been going on lately about, like, it's time for a female James Bond. Like, some actress said that. And of course, everyone's like, oh, yeah, that sounds good. You know what? Go for it. Go for it. Let's see how that pans out for you. So, go ahead. Might as well. I mean, what happened to Doctor Who? First female doctor, Jodie Whittaker, basically it killed it. It killed the whole all the hype was gone. So, it's just like the, Professor Spacetime. Do you remember Professor Spacetime? Do you ever see Community?
No.
It was a very funny show. And it's sort of like a show about these people, these young adults going to community college. And a couple of them are really into this show that's basically a parody of Doctor Who called Professor Spacetime. And what's really funny about it is that in the show, way before the Doctor became a woman in real life, okay? So this was years before that. There was there was talk of all these different professors, different men who have played the role of Professor Spacetime, and this female character on the show that is a feminist on the show, but she's, the butt of a lot of the jokes too. She said, oh, was there ever a female Professor Spacetime? Because of course she would ask that question. And Abed, who's one of the guys who's a fan of the show, he was like, we don't talk about that. Like, that was like the worst part about the show, right? And it's funny because it literally happened, like in real life. Everyone's ashamed of Jodie Whittaker. And look, I don't even have a problem with the actress, but it was just not a good show. Like, they put a woman in the role, and it was all shit because they can't write women. I mean, they can't. So
no, well, they can't. Okay, here's the problem. And this is what I've been seeing is that they can't. The woman has to be complete in and of herself, and her character arc has to be really realizing that.
Yeah.
And that doesn't make sense with the Doctor.
Mm-mm.
You know, and it's just it. You probably could write a female Doctor Who. They just don't have the chops.
No, they don't. No, they don't have the chops. I mean, like, obviously, everyone's gonna feel like it's forced, regardless. But yeah, it doesn't matter. Like, if they
feel like it's forced.
Yeah, but if they did it well, people would be more forgiving. But they didn't. So it was just.
But they don't.
Right.
And that's the thing. It's like you just do this stuff really badly.
Mm-hmm.
And it shows, and people hate it. And well, I mean, honestly, I would say personally, I think that people misidentify, like, and I can they're giving room for people who are on the woke or spectrum, to counter, argue, because they're not identifying the real problems with woke writing.
Yeah.
They know there's something that's off about it, and they're right about that, but they're not correctly identifying what it is, in my experience.
Yeah.
From the commentators. But anyway, that's another story entirely. But you're right, Brian. Let's just put more of X in, more female X, and that's good. That's a sales pitch.
Yep.
Like the botanical sexism, the botanical industry has engaged in sexism against female trees. Let's correct that, people.
I spy with my secret eye a commenter that I've never seen in our chat before, and I want to read their comment even though they didn't send through a super chat. And I did get a super chat for a song request, so get ready for that. But Betty Adams Overanalyzes made a comment and said, as an actual female botanist, I assure you the profession is, and has been for a long time, absolutely soaked in estrogen. Yeah, and I believe it. I mean, Lindsay and I were having a conversation about Adam and Eve that was really interesting. And I don't want to go too deep into it, but the idea that women tend to want to be around, like, nurturing living things it totally makes sense that you'd have more women involved with, like, animal shelters and veterinary practice and gardening and botany and horticulture. It totally makes sense. Like, no big deal, right? Child care, because babies are little animals too. Alison, are you ready for the next song?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you.
Ready.
All right, Ergo Proxy gives us $2 Canadian and says, oh God, I gotta spell this. Galactic Kraken and Jonathan Young man the cannons. So Galactic Kraken, maybe if you just put that in, that'll probably come up. GALACTIKRAKEN. Galactic Kraken.
Galactic Kraken. Yeah, okay, got it.
Man the cannons?
Man the cannons. I think this will be, unless somebody gets something in.
The last
really
thing.
Quick here. This will be the last thing. No offense, but it's
we went a little long. Yeah, dealing with a lot of tree spooge.
I think there's been a sufficient amount of tree spooge. I feel like I need to recover. Wash my face.
Yeah, but the most amazing badass band name. What did you say about the?
What's a badass band name?
No. Somebody in the chat said Galactic Kraken and Jonathan Young is a badass band name. It is. I don't know about the Jonathan Young thing is like the cherry on top, to be honest, but
yeah.
Anyway.
No, I said that I need to recover from all this tree spooge, maybe wash my face.
Oh, by the way, guys, just something I'm thinking about. So, a lot of people in our Discord server over the years have been saying, wouldn't it be funny if I could get, like, all the Badgers together to stream a game of Dungeons and Dragons, right? And I'd like to do that, but I don't think it's practical. I mean, I don't think it can be done with every person, present at once because of time zones and interests. Like Karen probably would never go for it. But here's what I do have this thought, and I don't know if this will work. But when there is a game coming out, like in September, I think, it's called Baldur's Gate 3, and it is a D&D setting. So I was thinking, I don't know if Baldur's Gate 3 lets you do this. I haven't looked into it yet, but if you can make the entire party, like, you know, custom, and they're not like characters you pick up, I don't know, as you play through the story, but instead you can just build a party from the ground up, then I could construct all of the Badgers as different characters, and I can like play through the game, and I'll try to have them behave in the way that they would normally behave. So I'll make Karen can be like a barbarian or a berserker or something, and you see what I'm saying? And Mike could be a bard because he plays music, and, you know, go from there. So that could be a thing that I could do. I don't know if you guys would be interested in that. I know I've been playing through Jedi Survivor, and I have some other things that I want to, like, you know, also check out. But that could be fun if you guys are interested. So just let me know if that would be cool with you. You can leave a comment on that. Would you like to see me play through Baldur's Gate 3 with the Badgers as an adventuring party? Fighting monsters, you know, because that's what we do in real life online. In Minecraft, I mean in Baldur's Gate. Anyway.
This is like really, in a lot of ways, this article is really revealing.
Yeah.
Because all this guy has done is use this rhetoric as a sales pitch.
Mm-hmm.
Which is exactly what it is.
Yeah, it is. It's him basically like, so give me money and I'll save the world with female trees. So. Hannah would be a witch. Female. That's like a war. If they allow female warlocks, those are witches. So Hannah would be the mage. Mike would be the bard. Karen would be the barbarian. I'll have to figure out the rest. You know, maybe.
There's no obvious characteristic for me.
Well, I don't know. Maybe cleric or I have to think about it. I think Alison could be a paladin. I mean, she does get, like, you know, pretty moralistic sometimes. So.
Moralistic. Okay.
I don't know, or because you live in such a small, like you know, isolated part of the country, you could be like a ranger.
Okay, I'm done.
Okay,
I got through it.
That's it, and I have not gotten any more requests. So.
All right. Okay, so I will go back and see if there's any thank yous to give, and I'll be right back.
All right.
Okay, you can make as many tree spooge jokes as you wish this time.
I'm all out. I'm gonna need like 5 minutes. I'm gonna need a break. All right, let me put the article back up on the screen here. There we go. And that's the... Wait, that's not the right thing. Is it? It is. Oh, no, yeah. No, that is the right thing. It just looks weird for some reason.
All right, so we have one more thank you to give to
Nice.
Alexandre L for $25. Thank you, Alexandre.
Thank you very much. That's really nice. Thank you.
So that brings our total up to $1,470, which is actually a pretty good haul for today, especially for 5 days out. So that's thank you to everyone. Meredith G, Fantas Dan, Health Potion Addict, Roland O, Cam D, Alexandra L. And I think that's everybody. So thank
all right.
Who would like to join them? feedthebadger.com/support to make sure that we can keep this ball rolling. It's actually, you know, it is a bit of a triumph to have been able to continue this long with a message that nobody wants to hear. Well, not nobody. You guys obviously want to hear it, but there's a lot of people who actively persecute this message.
Yes.
I guess it's too much reels for them.
Well, it's dangerous. It might make them obsolete, so they have to fight.
Yeah, and it might destroy their sales pitch.
Yep.
And one thing what I've learned in the past 3 years is that you don't go after a person's sale pitch or a corporation's sales pitch.
Mm-hmm.
They get irate, and then they start doing things that are a little unethical, shall we say. Anyway, if you would like to help us out and support us, please go to feedthebadger.com/support, especially those corporations empowered by government. to just give a little anarchist, anarcho-capitalist spin. Feedthebadger.com/support. I think that this may be going offline, but if it isn't, you know.
Well, I'll leave it up and see if we get like like a claim or something,
like,
and if we
really
do,
edit,
yeah, then I'll just have them edit that part out.
Yeah. So okay, so we'll keep this up. So once again, feedthebadger.com/support. I don't think we said anything particularly feisty.
No,
in
we
this
were
one. I think it was
literally
mostly
reading about sexist horticulture, so I don't see how anyone could get their panties in a twist over that, but stranger things have happened. So
Okay, all right. So feedthebadger.com/support. And as always, if you want to send us a message after the show is over, give us a thank you for the show and the show's content if you enjoyed it. And you just want to give us a tip, it's feedthebadger.com/justthetip. If you send a message with that tip, we will endeavor to read it at the very next most relevant show.
yes.
So once again, feedthebadger.com/justthetip. Back to you, Brian.
All right, so if you guys like this video, please hit like, subscribe if you're not already subscribed, hit the bell for notifications. Let us know what you guys thought about what we talked about, this article on the show. Leave us a comment about that, and please share this video because sharing is caring. I will leave this up. If I hear anything really bad from YouTube, I might make it unlisted. So, you know, just keep it in your history. You should still be able to go back and look at it. Thank you guys so much for coming on today's episode of it's a fundraising stream. And we'll talk to you all in the next video.
Men's rights activists are machines, dude. Okay? They are literal machines. They are talking point machines. They are impossible to fucking deal with, especially if you have like a couple dudes who have good memory on top of that too. Holy shit, you're fucked.